Governor Mitt Romney is hitting the trail in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. Governor Romney telling voters that he, not the president, is the candidate who will give Americans a fair shot. Take a listen.
He said he wants to make sure that every American has a fair shot. And I couldn't agree more. I think it's critically important that every American knows that if they work hard and get an education and live their life right and apply for a job, and that they have a fair shot at a bright and prosperous future. I think that's absolutely right. But let me ask you this. Do you think that passing trillion-dollar debts of our generation onto our kids gives them a fair shot? I sure don't.
Governor Romney is on a bus tour taking him through New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Michigan, keeping his focus on jobs and the economy.
Meanwhile, President Obama finishing his week raking in, well, some big bucks at two star-studded campaign fundraisers in New York City, reportedly raising about $4.5 million for his campaign. And among the who's who of attendees, actress Sarah Jessica Parker. She hosted one of the events at her home. Legendary singer Aretha Franklin, Oscar winner Meryl Streep, Vogue editor Anna Wintour. According to the Associated Press, President Obama told the elite crowd that they would play a critical role in shaping the future of our nation, saying, quote, "You're the tiebreaker. You're the ultimate arbiter of which direction this country goes." Really? Is that fair to the rest of the nation? Here now is Shira Toeplitz, a staff writer for Roll Call. Shira, good to see you. You know, the president makes this remark to a collection of super rich, super elite celebrities. Arguably, they do not even remotely represent the rest of America. I wonder if the president's remark is even logical.
Yeah, I question it too. You know, I looked through this story and I was trying to see if there's any more context to that remark, and it didn't seem like there was. I think his comment is, first of all, false, because celebrities do not have a big effect on voters, even very young voters and impressionable voters. And secondly, they are not the great deciders in this country. Voters in general are, and frankly, middle-class voters and suburban voters, and those are hardly celebrities.
Yeah, and you know, here's the thing. Images of all these glitzy affairs with the president, I mean, they've been all over the airways. They've been all over the internet. I mean, they have literally been seen by millions of Americans. Is that a bit politically risky for a guy who says, hey, I'm a man of the people?
Yeah, it's absolutely politically risky, especially right now as Obama is trying to reach out to the middle-class voters. I think it looks like he's saying one thing and doing another, and it's a problem for him. I think if you look back to the 2008 cycle, one of the big arguments that got traction against the president was that TV ad, Celebrity, where they showed him next to a bunch of celebrities. That was considered one of the best campaign advertisements from Senator McCain's campaign. And I think it's going to be a sore spot for him again in 2012, especially if he keeps doing these kinds of big dollar fundraisers with big-name celebrities in such a public manner.
Well, so many of them, in fact. He's been lampooned as the fundraiser-in-chief. 150 fundraisers. That's more than the last 4 presidents combined, which is pretty astonishing. And, you know, of course, he's constantly on the road giving speeches. And now he is one stroke away from his 100th round of golf as president. As Michael Barone, points out in his column today, the president seldom talks with congressional leaders, even the Democratic leaders. Is there a sense that perhaps the president neglects the hard job of governing, rolling up your sleeves, working with Congress, trying to accomplish something for the American people?
Well, I think there's definitely a sense in Washington, and we talk about it a lot in our newsroom, about the rift between the president and Congress. It's a very long 16 blocks right now between the White House and Capitol Hill. He doesn't talk to congressional leaders as much as previous presidents, but I think that's in part because of where he came. He was only in the Senate a few short years, and he ran very much as an outsider candidate. And then also in his campaign, he campaigns against Congress all the time.
Right.
So we've seen the effect of these things. There's definitely a big rift between the president and Congress.
Ronald Reagan was an outsider. I mean, he was governor of California, didn't know a lot of people on the Capitol Hill, got to know very quickly Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, and the two of them worked very hard and accomplished actually quite a lot on a bipartisan basis. Look, on Thursday, the president delivered what was billed as a very important speech on the economy. It got roundly ripped by even liberal commentators and columnists. Here's a sample of them. We'll put it up on the screen. MSNBC's Jonathan Alter, quote, "One of the worst speeches I've ever heard Barack Obama make. Politico's Mike O'Brien begged the president to stop before the speech was even over. And the Washington Post, Dana Milbank, quote, "The president gave Americans a falsehood wrapped in a fallacy." Boy, what do you think's going on here?
Yeah, those are some pretty strong words there. I was watching some of my colleagues on Twitter who were at the speech, and they had some not so nice things to say as well. First of all, what I heard is the speech was way too long, and secondly, he didn't provide anything new. And that's really the important thing, is that he's really tried to give a range of economic speeches here and present like he's in charge and knows what he's going to do, but he hasn't presented any new ideas in a long time in terms of jump-starting this economy, which is what's really important to voters.
And, you know, Romney tried to pre-butt the president's speech by delivering his own that very same day. He was in Cincinnati, the president was in Cleveland, but Romney didn't exactly get rave reviews for his speech either. It was criticized as being kind of, you know, crib-noted from earlier speeches, nothing new, kind of lacking in enthusiasm. Does Romney maybe lack the ability to talk about the economy in a way that is appealing to voters?
Yes, he does, and I think his personal wealth plays a part in that. It's really hard to empathize with voters who are going through a very hard time financially right now when you yourself are well off. No matter how Romney tries, that's always going to be a hurdle for him to overcome. I do think both candidates, though, have very difficult tasks trying to talk about the economy. Romney has to convince voters to dump the other guy and pick him instead, and Barack Obama has to convince voters that what he's done is enough to turn the economy around. They just need to be a little bit more patient. It's a tough sell for both of them.
Shira Toeplitz, good to see you. Thanks very much.